urgency is great. It makes you swerve, right? Urgency kicks into gear. In an emergency situation, urgency is great. In a life decision, getting out of your box, not so much. It's with clarity, it's with the hand on the heart, just saying to your nervous system.
Welcome to the Jane and Layton Show. This podcast is for you, the person who keeps putting others first. Your self-talk has held you back. You no longer need to take a second seat. Let's explore ways to overcome self-doubt. You can silence that inner bully voice and achieve your full potential. Here's your host, Jane.
Welcome to the show, friend. My new best friend, Kathleen, is with us. And we are going to talk about kind of being stuck in a box. We created who we are and what we are with patterns that came from our parents and our people we knew. Sometimes as we get older, those don't fit us anymore. I'm going to say for me, it was for sure, and a lot of my friends all the time, they don't fit anymore. And how do we break out of that box? How do we move beyond how we were told we needed to be? You know, that measuring stick that says you will be successful if you do X, Y, and Z. Well, I want to do A, B, C, and I'm still successful. When do you get to pick your destination and how you behave and how you are seen? And that is Kathleen's specialty. So I am so excited to hear from her. Before we get started, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsor. When we come back, Kathleen, help me break out of my box. We'll be right back.
I will.
Hey, since I rarely have openings in my coaching schedule, I have a new resource out there on my website. It is called the BFF Coaching Network. And I have offered a spot there for any coach that has been on the show to list their coaching. You can go out there, you can listen to their episodes, you can feel a little bit about them, and then choose a coach that will work for you. So LauraJaneLayton.com, the BFF Coaching Network.
All right, Kathleen, this is going to be fun because I know we all experience it in one way or another. It may not be the same level, it may not be, but you feel, I'm probably my husband's worst critic. Oh, shh, we're in the movie theater, be quiet. You know, all these expectations, like nobody can hear me. Well, I can. What are those things? What are those things we put around ourselves that this is successful or this is appropriate when that's not who we are? How do we break out of that?
Yeah, I think it's about labeling and maybe a social society and image that we're trying to present within ourselves and within the world. I think everybody wants to look good from the outside, right? Everybody wants our houses to be well manicured and newly painted and look like it's great. Well, on the inside, there could be black mold growing right behind the walls. And that's what we're feeling as women. Men do it too, but as women, we put ourselves in boxes. We're the people pleaser, right? We're the good wife, the great employee, the silent, partner. It's the boxes that we put ourselves into because of traditional patterns that we were raised within, the model that we grew up with the parents and the mother taking care of the household and taking care of all the emotional lifting and the pushing the wheelbarrow of everybody else's needs. And then we get to our 40s or beyond, or 30s, it depends on when it is or when your aha moment occurs, that you then realize that, man, if I keep filling everybody else's cup up, there's nothing left for me. And then so it's the small things that we can do every day to find our own footing. You don't have to, threaten to move out or threaten to end marriages or relationships or change your kids. No one's going to change. You have to change. It's your reaction to things, your example of your husband wanting to be himself and you wanting to show a different image while he's out talking loudly or whatever he's doing in the theater. It's more about how we change to that reaction, how we change to being triggered because those triggers have been with us through family patterns for a long time. So we just identify in a box, rigid, tap on it when we need to break out of the box.
Is it possible to jump out I think I'm still climbing out very slowly, green step at a time.
It is possible to jump out. Now, is it the healthiest way? I mean, certainly trauma and drama can occur if you jump out of your box and demand and change everything automatically. I think slow and steady always wins the race, right? Speed tends to kill. We don't make changes, especially life decisions, at a high emotional level. We don't do it at our highest anxiety. We don't do it when our adrenaline and our heart is pumping. I use the analogy and the metaphor of a haunted house, right? When you see and you go to a haunted house, you never see anybody walking slowly through them, right? And that's the same thing. You see people running like someone's chasing them, like their lives and their bodies are on fire. And that's how people in an emotional charged environment tends to want to make that mistake or that decision. In a haunted house, if you slow down, put your hand on your heart before you walk in, you can look and open your eyes and see the exit strategy. You can see the path you have to take. You can see the people around you. Now you don't stop and look at the decor, you still, but you do it with purpose and you move through purpose. So can you break out of your box quickly? Yeah, you can, but should you? Probably not. I mean, it's best for you, your emotion, your mental stability, and the people that you love to do it slowly and steadily so that you do it with confidence and with clarity.
I love the idea with clarity because that seems like I know why I'm doing it. It's not like being in a hot pot and you have to get out now. It's okay if I get this part of my body out and then this part, I'm going to slowly have that planned approach where like, what is the saying? And I've never done this, so I don't know if it's real, but if you put a frog in hot water, it jumps right out.
Mm,
But if you put it in room temperature water and turn it up, he doesn't realize he's being cooked to death because it
right.
slowly changes him. So, and I don't want to use the death part, but I find as I slowly turn up the changes in my life, I adjust and
Right.
I'm okay with it and I'm not feeling that immediate runaway. So what are the steps that you use to get out of your box that I might be able to do?
Well, I think first of all is recognizing the box, right? We have to recognize the environment that we're in and be okay with recognizing that sometimes it's unhealthy, right? It doesn't mean that we have to change that unhealthy level. It just means that we have to at least recognize it. And unhealthy can be a trigger, right? Your
Mhm.
husband, your kids, your neighbor, your whoever, your parent, or your kid's teacher saying something, you can just stop and just take a breath. We tend to react first
Mhm.
and respond first, and then we regret, right? But if we can just pause, just a 90-second pause, it seems like a long time, but it's really not. It's just two quick breaths. We can center ourselves within our body and within our mind and within our heart. And a lot of what I do when I'm in those situations is I'm going to walk in, or I know the situation is maybe stressful, is I put my hand on my heart, right? Like, okay, I'm going to balance myself. That's me telling my nervous system that we're going to slow things down, that it's okay to take a deep breath. Because our nervous system is the first thing that wants to leap out of the box, that wants to run through the haunted house, that wants to make the quick change, right? I mean, urgency is great. We all need it in emergencies. When a car goes into your lane, urgency is great. It makes you swerve, right? It's those things. A work deadline that comes onto your calendar that's unexpected without context. Yeah, urgency kicks into gear. In an emergency situation, urgency is great. In a life decision, getting out of your box, not so much. It's with clarity. It's with the hand on the heart, just saying to your nervous system, I know you're not used to this. You're used to me reacting, and you're used to me doing quick action. We're going to pause. We're going to take a deep breath and we're going to center ourselves. Again, not a long period of time. And if you need a longer period of time, you set expectations with whoever you need it from. right? You never just leave the room and slam the door. Some people do. I mean, you can do that. That can be a choice and an option,
I think I have done that.
right? But it's nice to say to them, hey, this conversation seems to be, I have a teenager, and when, we're trying to negotiate, and I know that, low blood sugar or teenage emotions or my emotions or hormones are coming to effect, I say, let's take a breather. We don't have to decide something that happens tonight, this morning. Like, let's just sit on it. And, they may not like my pause because they want instant gratification. That's our society, right? We want the likes, we want the instant gratification. Movement isn't always good. It's if it's forward movement. I use the analogy again, it's a great one. I'm full of metaphors that you can walk life as a runway with confidence and purpose and steady ground and steady footing, or you can walk it as a plank, right? And you're still going the same direction. You're going forward. Both the runway and the plank push you forward, move you in the same direction. It's how do you want to do it? So that's why we have to pause and say, is this a runway movement or a moment, or is this the plank? How do you want to be remembered? That confidence, walking down with purpose, slowly, head up, shoulders down, chest out, looking and knowing that you're doing it with clarity, or this, the urgent run off the plank.
Yeah. And that's I love that. Never thought of it that way, but the runway, you know, it, I'm trying to think, how would I change that where it's my natural, this is what's comfortable term for me? Because if you are the model, it is your runway. You are confident. You are comfortable. So have it be your runway.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Paris runway. It doesnn't have to
Yeah.
be the Italian Milan, runway. It's our kitchen. It's walking through a threshold. How do you want to walk into the room? It's going into your high school reunion or an event someplace that you might go in nervously in the past because you're rushed, you're late, you're got other things on your mind, and you might just slam down out of breath, and suddenly the whole energy in the room changes to the plank
Yeah.
because people look over and you're like disruptive, and your energy, everyone's energy affects other people. So we have to realize that going in with purpose, with steadiness, is how we should do any threshold, whether it's
Right.
Milan or your kitchen.
And with the plank, that is totally based on fear. You might fall off. Be careful.
Yep.
Growing up, I was a gymnast and I could nail something 100 times in a row on the floor on that straight, perfect line. You put me up on the beam, and that teeny tiny bit of fear, you'd fall off.
Right.
And it isn't because you weren't capable of staying up, it's because you let fear in.
Right.
And what a huge difference of the runway or the plank. It is.
Right. And if you put your hand on your heart as you were a gymnast and you paused and focused on your performance being the runway, and I don't mean it in a performative stage, but in that, how am I going to do this? Center yourself within yourself and know that you're capable, right? Urgency loves capability and loves competent people. It latches onto them because it makes us efficient. It makes us move with productivity and with task and chores. We keep ourselves busy, right? But if you pause beforehand, you can still complete things. You're just doing them with purpose, right? You can still do your routine just in a different way.
Yeah. Just, knowing that it's fearless. It's okay. Oh, think of those people you see them, go to the YouTube, wherever you go, and you're going to find the models that fell down on the runway. Did they get up and run away? Did they hide? Did they cry? No. They resume that exact posture of, I got this.
Right.
It's okay to fall.
We want to fall because that's how we learn. Like when we I have a teenager, and if you've had children or you've been around them, we would rather have them make mistakes young, where the cost and the consequence is maybe small, than when they're adults, right? I'd rather have my son learn from a mistake at 7 than at
Yes.
27. You know, the consequence and the money becomes a lot more risky as they get older. So, yeah, falling on a runway, yeah, no one wants to do it. But if we do it, we get up with clarity and we get up with our hand on our heart and say, all right, I got this. That person back there was afraid. This one isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a beautiful analogy. Thank you. I'm writing it down and keeping it forever now.
I've trademarked it.
Okay, I won't use it then.
No, it's just I look for things that are relatable
Mhm.
and that are visual, right? We all learn differently. You learn maybe through auditory. I do as well, but a lot of people are visual. They have to picture it in their head. So they picture the runway. They picture the urgency of the car in front of them. Yeah, it's needed in an emergency. Not every day is an emergency, I hope. I hope that we can make our daily decisions with a lot more clarity than confusion.
I am auditory and my husband is visual. And so it can be comical at times and annoying at others, but that is my response. That's not
Right.
what really is happening, but it's how we respond. And how do I choose to respond? And I listen to this meditation every once in a while at night. I love guided meditations, but she says we are at choice. And the
Yeah.
way she frames it kind of like rubs me wrong, but we are always have that opportunity right now to choose. I can choose to get out of the box. I can choose to raise my hand out of the box. I can choose to poke my head and see if it's safe. We get to choose. And you can choose to stay in.
Everything is a decision. All
Yeah.
relationships and our relationship with others and with ourselves is a decision. Do I decide today to be happy, or do I decide today to be unhappy? Right? That's a decision. Do I decide today to stay married or to not stay? I mean, those are decisions, and we have to make them with clarity and with pause and with data. We have to just gather things. There's no shame or harm in saying, I need to get back to you, or I'm a business executive as well. So I make my decisions, and people know that I make my decisions with three things: time, money, and people. What's it going to take? So if you come to me and you only have two of those three, you're probably not going to get a decision from me. And if you have all three, I'm probably still going to say, let me think about it. Or let's talk about it in a different way, because collaboration from everything with your husband, how he learns versus how you learn, you know how to adjust with each other. You may push each other's buttons, that's for sure, after being with them for as long as you have, I'm sure. But that's a choice whether you push the buttons or not, and his if he pushes yours.
We can consciously choose to push someone's button.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably going to happen. You can do your best not to push it. It still might happen. So I choose to always do my best not to push the buttons. That way I have less buttons pushed.
I mean, it's like perceive versus receive. You in written documents and in a role that we write in, we can write something, a quick text, and we can mean it with the best intent, but someone can receive it with not the best intent. So we have to not only think about how we're sending it, it's how they receive it. So I often, if I send a text and I send it out of, well, I hope I don't, I pause. If I don't pause and I send it reactive, well, there is a higher risk that that's going to be received differently than how I meant it.
Mhm.
Because one, it came across quickly, looking for action, looking for something to be done, or just a snarky reply.
Yeah, I used to go ahead and let myself vent. It's like, go ahead, let yourself vent, reply to the email, but don't push send. I accidentally pushed send once. So now I take the receiver out of the to line before I
Yep,
do that. But
yep.
it's, it's, uh, I am responsible for how I
Mhm.
deliver it. And I can choose to be mean and try to hurt your feelings. I remember back in college, I was trying to get some guys to leave the apartment. Get out of here. And we do not want you. They thought I was joking. There are times when, even if you're trying to be mean, someone's going to take it as nice. And even if you're trying your best to be nice, someone's going to take it not.
Yep.
How I deliver it's my responsibility. That's the best I can do. And I can
Yep.
choose to always do it with kindness. Doesn't mean that's going to be how it received, but it takes me away from feeling guilty for having hit someone's trigger.
Right. I mean, we only have control over two things, our time and our energy. That's all we have control over, right? It's our
Mhm.
power. Simply, it's our power. So how do we choose to give it and to receive it? So again, it's that we have to be better. We, the collective we, me, has to be better in not being triggered to a quick response, to being okay with letting things sit. I mean, I got angry yesterday with somebody, and believe me, I wanted to fire off a quick little, to prove my point, to get up on my pedestal. And, I went and had lunch and I came back and I thought, I think I was overthinking that. I think
Yeah.
that could have been over. Yes, my feelings were hurt because of something that they did or didn't do. But I had to look at it from their perspective too. Like, what were they doing that they couldn't do it? Right? They're not my emotional anchor that they have to respond to a need that they don't know they have to respond to. So how do I
Right.
blame them for that? Right? So there's a lot of, I mean, I was glad I didn't send it. Believe me, it was a great text. I was really proud of myself when I wrote the angry one because I thought I did it with authority and grace, but I was glad I didn't send it.
I feel ya. Because when we get out of that emotional moment, our brain is a much more sensitive to how it might be received.
Yeah. I think we look for people to fill roles that it's not their responsibility to fill. We look to our partners, our husbands, or our kids to fill an emotional role for us. They didn't do something, so therefore I'm not happy. So we have to fill our bucket and our cup first within ourselves because being enough is enough from us. Right? It's that level of we shouldn't have to have our spouse or our husband. They influence, right? They certainly can
Mhm.
influence our moods and they can influence the household energy, but it's not their role to make us happy. It's not their role to be our fathers, right? Or our mothers. It's not their role to fill something. It's not fair to them. They then can't fill their role within themselves if they're so emotionally tied to us for our emotional
Yes,
existence.
completely agree with you. And sometimes we just have those expectations. And it's always funny. Well, I'll be happy when. Well, I choose to be happy now. I know that the situation going on right now is kind of rocky. I'm going to be okay. I'm choosing. And that's our choice. I live knowing that when I blow up and I'm angry and I'm frustrated, that was my choice. And
Yep.
somebody's gonna go, "Oh, no, that wasn't my choice." Well, it is.
Well,
And
I think a
sometimes
lot of it is, especially with marriages. Sorry,
you're
but a
good.
lot of it is with relationships. I think that, again, my analogy or my metaphor is that misery loves company, right? If someone is unhappy, you you're so mad that you don't want people around you to be happy. That just makes your unhappiness seem even worse, even more unhappy. So you want to pull them down, right? You want to pick a fight. You want to provoke them. You want to start an argument. You want to change the energy to match yours because misery loves company. It's a lot easier to trigger someone in a negative way to bring them down to you and suddenly you're like, now the whole house feels like me. She loves me the way I want to be loved, or I need to be loved in the moment, that angry, miserable way, or he, or whatever, instead of rising up to the light, right? The energy.
Yeah. And you're right, it is easier to piss somebody off than to take a pissed off person and make them happy. You know, that it is a lot harder, but it's possible. It is possible to be the thermostat, not the thermometer.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You just have to hold true and choose to not let the other energy bring you down. And when I'm in one of those bad moods or I know my energy is lower than other people's, to let them know. Like you said, take the pause. I need a moment. I'm not being rational right now. Can we get back together? You
Right.
know, I need to think through this and be more clear with my intent. There's so many words that you can use to give it a pause. And that's giving you that strength to show more of who you are outside that box.
Yeah, I think as women, so one of the things that I did, this could be an example or help somebody. I set up just a chair. It's not anything fancy. It's just a chair in the corner that I call my sacred space. And I had it when my son was a toddler and when emotions were high. And if I was in that chair, it was a place that I went to just for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 20 minutes of just quiet peace time. Because as a mom, we get overwhelmed and overloaded with our tasks and our responsibilities and our own burdens that we just need that little space. So I called it in the house and I said, kids, husband, partners, I'm in this chair. Zip it. Just give me that space. Just respect it. Like I will still acknowledge you when you come up, but I will tell you, like, I need a couple minutes. I need to just sit here for a little bit. And, again, it's not a comfortable chair. It can be a comfortable chair. You can choose whatever you want. And it doesn't have to, maybe it's just a blanket you put on you. Maybe it's a mug that you carry around, that says, when I'm carrying this, this is my sacred water or tea or whatever it is. Because as moms, I am one. And I mean, there's been more times than not that I start a cup of coffee and it goes cold pretty quickly because I'm dealing with everybody else's needs, right? But if I sit in that chair with that cup of coffee, gosh darn it, I have the best possibility of getting a hot sip than I do if I'm putting it down, looking for my kids' shoes or clothes or my backpack or briefcase, right? So it's that time that we set aside for ourselves, 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 20, that we say, okay, I'm going to get through this, at least 3 sips of this hot coffee before I put it down and lose the mug and then don't find it for days, you know?
Yeah, I call it my coffee flavored cream.
Yeah, it's like coffee milk. I don't know. I was raised back east, and coffee milk is a big thing in the Northeast in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, where I was raised. And coffee milk is something that we were raised with, and that is what happens with your coffee. It becomes coffee milk.
It just tastes better to me that way. But I'm sitting here imagining having a cup that says on it, "Let me pause,"
Yeah,
just because
yeah,
because
or the middle
sometimes
or the middle finger. If your family can get a good joke, like, I hate to say it, but just or the hand that just says talk to the hand, because we all need that pause. Whether we get it as a visual, like your husband learns, as maybe he needs you to have a shirt on or something over her head that says, haven't had coffee yet, no questions asked.
I literally had a coffee mug at the office that the bottom had the middle finger on it. So you didn't see it unless it was up and you were drinking it.
I deal with it a lot with my clients because a lot of them are females, but I do have a few men that come in as well. And they have the same problems as us. Instead of the people pleaser, they're the dutiful husband, right?
Yeah.
They're instead of the good wife, they're the responsible partner, the breadwinner. So they have boxes too. They just don't, as we don't talk about them enough.
Which I'm pausing because I remember the statement that my husband once said to me, "I don't know how to make you happy." And I learned to say, "It's not your job.
Right.
It is my job to make me happy. You keep being you."
Hmm.
And when I did that, it took the pressure off him to try to fix everything
So that's what
and
men
gave
do,
me the
right?
moment to pause, and sometimes it's, how do I find the right words that become something that I can say to diffuse that I'm doing everything I can, and it's like, I appreciate you trying. It's not your job.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, I think men like to fix. And I often tell people, friends like you and I are, I would tell you, like, I have something I want to talk to you about. And I may even tell you, I want you to listen or I want you to help me. So I'm going to set expectations. And I think as partners and as moms, we need to do that as well, right? We need to tell our spouses or our kids, like, man, all right, let's talk through this. And at the end of it, I just want to vent. I don't want you to fix. I just want you to listen. You can agree with it or not. Just listen. Actively listen. Don't just zone me out. Or I need a solution. I'm having a hard time. Can we collaborate with this? Because then you're setting expectations on what their role is and what you want as an outcome and say, hey, be an active listener or be an active contributor. I need a solution here because men often are the ones that are walking around with the toolbox saying, oh God, or the, dustpan and broom saying, I got to fix something. I got to clean something up. I got to do. And it's not their role. It's not their job to make us happy. They can influence it. I mean, they certainly can. We all influence everybody else and our energy and their energy helps, but I don't want to look for happiness from somebody else. It's not sustainable for them. It's exhausting. That's a big responsibility for them to to create our happiness. And not only that, it's not right for us because their level of happiness that they can create for us might not be what I need. And it might
Yeah.
not be, like it might be fake. Sorry, I hate to use that word, but it just might be performative, I think. Like image. I have female clients that talk often about their partners and their husbands and how they do everything, they go everywhere together. They've lost their identity because they become one person, right? You've been with someone for so long, you suddenly can't go anywhere without them. It started out as cuteness and I want to be with you all the time. Then it becomes codependency.
Mhm.
Then it becomes an addiction that you don't have the confidence to leave the house without them. It's like him and her, you know? Whenever you see a person, you have to see the other person because that's the whole sum of themselves.
And I think there are relationships that it is a him and her that isn't codependent. I know that for us, we went through both, where in some situations we didn't need each other and some we did. And it went back and forth. And it wasn't too long ago, I was talking to somebody about some of my dreams that I wanted to do in retirement and how I was getting some pushback that I didn't really want to do that. And she says, well, you need to be willing to do it yourself.
Mhm.
And I went, do it myself. We want to be together. And I went, no, I am now ready to do it myself if that's what needs to be. I'm
Right.
completely confident to do it. Where a year ago I was like, mm-mm.
Right.
It's all just that mental state that's a little bit more out of the box, right? When do I get all the way out? I now have a new power, a new thing that I am confident in doing that I didn't think was possible.
Right. If our goal as wives, and I'll look at the traditional role of a wife, is just have our husbands live one day past us because of what they do for us, that's a horrible goal and a lot of pressure, right? So I have clients that are, in this, don't know where the finances are. I don't know how to do what happened. And I always say, what happens if something happens to him? How you would have to be a mom. You would have to step into the role to understand how your house works. You may not be able to get up on the roof and fix it yourself, but you would call somebody. So it's not that instance of, I want him to die, so therefore I have to learn. It's no. What happens if accidents happen? Things can happen, and you have to protect yourself and create a future that's sustainable for you with your own interdependence, if that makes sense. I mean,
Mhm.
independence is great, but it's interdependence. That's what we want to teach our kids, to always know that we're there for them, but we don't always have to be, right? So it's that interdependence. And that's what we need as women, is that we need to know, you know what? Hey, his flight was late. He got delayed. Oh, the kids have to go somewhere. Something needs to be done. I have to talk to this person. Okay, I'm going to do the things that, what would they do? Is answer it like that. Because I often find that, again, we're in this straddling of, we don't we're trying to live as our parents modeled, the marriage that they had, the Brady Bunch, the, the perfect household. But yet our environment and our emotional bandwidth, it's not enough. It's not relationships, it's relational, right? It's not commonalities, it's connection. Those are huge differences. I can want to do and be present with someone I love, doing the same, eating the same food, watching the same TV show, all of that, but not have any connection with them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right? Or I could have a connection with somebody and not like what they like. They like to skydive maybe. Well, I don't. That means I can encourage them to go do that because I'm confident enough in the connection. But I don't
Yes.
want to have a relationship built on just commonalities, on traditional patterns. It doesn't work for me, and it may not work for others anymore either.
And I think there's beauty in the difference when you can
Mm.
complement each other, where I'm weak, you're strong. When it's that we help one another. And when you're talking about what am I going to do? I've always told my husband, I get to die first because there's no way I can do what you do. You know, and
But
and I'm happy. But I remember one day he's like walking in and it's like, I just noticed this on the roof and we've got to get somebody over here to fix it right away. And I'm going, I don't even notice that stuff. I don't even see it. I don't even look. How am I
because
gonna
he does, though, because he's there to do it. If he wasn't there, you would.
I
Or you'd
might.
have a leak and you eventually would find
I
it,
think it would
right?
be leaking through first where he
Well, it's
can
not a
start
priority.
them.
Like
Yeah.
I was raised in a large family, and my siblings and parents keep their cars and always kept their cars dealer room clean. Does that make sense? Like dealership
Hmm.
clean. Like to this
Absolutely.
day, my siblings' cars could be 10 years old or 2 days old and they look the same. I have never had my car like that. Every year I'm like, I'm going to buy all the cleaning products. I'm going to buy this organizer. I'm going to do all it's just not doesn't never goes up to the list that's high enough for me to make it a priority. Eventually it might, I'm not a hoarder. My car's not full of trash and garbage. It's just not as clean as my siblings' cars would be, for example. I also live on a dirt road and in an environment where there's weather. So, I have that, but I don't know. It's just not eventually those things will become important to me, or someone in my life will know that it is, and they may do it for me,
Right. But if it's not a priority, you get to stay out of your box. You don't have to be in the clean car box. You get to
right,
be in the Kathleen box. And
right,
that's what counts is being okay with a little bit of chaos if that's what is your natural. It's
right,
when we tune into who we are where we can become confident in being that person. But until you do that self-reflection and that figuring out, we don't know. We're what
right,
we were raised to be. And because I was authentic 5 years ago, I felt like I knew who I was. I'm not the same as I was 5 years ago. Does that mean I wasn't authentic? No, it was living my truth to the best of my knowledge. And I continue to learn and live my truth. And that truth doesn't mean you have to change. That truth means we get to be confident and comfortable being who we are. And I love to share the appreciation for the differences. Like, I am so glad you do that. I love that about you because I'm missing it. Because then they don't feel bad for being themselves. I want it to be safe. I want everybody to be out of their box in a safe environment. And I think so many of us don't feel safe, and that's why we stay in the box.
yeah. I think it's also that we're trying to change people before we're willing to change ourselves or acknowledge the change and growth within ourselves, and that's a slippery slope. And it's also the other way that we're trying to let people around us not change. There's that I'm happy where I am and we do everything. Monday nights we do this, Tuesday nights and this, we do this, we eat this. Everything is so rigid, so boxed that if our spouse tries to look out of their box, we then have a temper tantrum. It's not fair to them for us to keep them in their box either. So I heard a great thing that when women become widows and their husbands pass, as women, one of the most important things we can do for us and for our self-awareness is to find a support group of like-minded women, so that because we're all going through the same thing, or we find people that have gone ahead of us and that can teach us, right? Mentors and all of that, or we can be a mentor for people behind us. And so if if our partner dies and we're women, we tend to migrate towards that support group. We tend to go there. And if men become widows, they will marry right away. Statistics show that men will marry quicker because we tend, as females, keep the husbands tied to our emotional level and our answer our emotional needs, which we shouldn't, in my opinion. And you just said that as well, that they don't know how to function because they're functioning for us. And if something happens to us, they seek then latch onto someone else as opposed to the group. Like, think about it. I don't know about your husband. Maybe this isn't a great example, but you know, he may only have a couple of friends where you have a lot, right? I have a lot of friendlies, as I call them. I have a very close knit group of friends, trusted group of friends that I love but I have a million friendlies. I mean, I keep in touch with everybody. So do you. You have a personality, but your husband probably, if you were to ask him who's your best friend, he would say you. And if someone were to ask you who is your best friend, you would probably say your girlfriend, your sister, it's not that you don't have the same friend, your needs are different, and our needs are different as females as theirs are for men. So and so we should, as females, encourage men in our lives and our kids to get their circle of support, get their influence, get a group of like-minded, doesn't have to be the same age, men, so that you can talk about your health issues, your health concerns, your changes in views politically or religiously or socially, so that you can see what else is out
Yeah, and both my husband and my mother's husbands passed away while they're in their 50s, and neither of them remarried. And my mom died in her late 80s and his died in their 90s. That's half of their lives alone.
there. Hmm.
And they just had their girlfriends around. They stayed very active, very busy, very engaged, and had great lives.
I heard it on a podcast and I thought, I'm going to think about that through things. And I think my father passed before my mother did. And so she had 17 or 18 years without him. And she used to say she wasn't lonely, she was lonesome
Mhm.
because she had a lot of activity. She had a lot of friends. When she could drive, she would do things, line dancing, lunches, all of those types of things. But she was lonesome, like she missed my father being in the house and that type
Mhm.
of stuff. So,
I always thought I'd have a roommate.
yeah, right. Maybe you will, right? And those are the things. But I think if my mother would have passed first, I think my father would have remarried quickly.
Hmm,
Not because he didn't know how to do those things. It's just he did a lot for her and it was the emotional, anchor for her. He would have wanted to fill that role with somebody else. I don't know. It didn't happen, but just a guess.
And I'm trying to think financially. I know my husband goes to work to provide, even though I'll I made great money. They didn't need to. We could be partners in that. And I made money not to provide, but to have fun.
Right.
A whole different feeling of the reason we went to work.
Right. But also how he viewed his role as,
Mhm.
again, his box was the provider, right? So even if there wasn't any pressure to provide, he didn't know how to break out of that box, right?
Hmm.
That was a box that he felt traditionally, again, where we're of the generation where we're shifting from how we were raised and the model we were raised within and generationally, our grandparents, to how our kids will be. Like we're that gap.
Mhm.
We're the generation of, and it's not a generation like X. It's just that group of us that are, now we're caring for our parents. Now we're, helping them transition or guiding them through transition to their next dimension or wherever they go. And so we're straddling these, I'm your mother and you need to I'm your child, here's my child and I want them to. There's that conflict that we have as wives and
Yeah.
daughters.
And I think my parents did a great job. I don't have anything against how they raised me. I do know I raised my kids differently. I
Sure.
did my best to teach some independence. Oh,
Mhm.
you forgot your lunch today? Not fixing it for you. How are you going to fix it?
Right.
I just chose that if I was going to be a professional person that was out of the house, I couldn't be the mother my mother was. I had to choose a different path. Neither of them are right or wrong. It's out of necessity. I chose to do things differently. And I think my kids have grown just fine with it. They've
Right.
learned to fix their own problems. My daughter says, I do what you did, Mom. I don't let them suffer or experience is probably the better word. And it's like, I'm thankful that she chose that was a good thing to do.
Right. Yeah, that shows you that she appreciated the parent role that you played in that instance. Of course, there's certain things that she might not have agreed with how you parented her. But that's how I feel we were told what to do. We
Mhm,
were, not in an authoritative way. It was just my parents' relationships was and it was about my mother. It was all her. She was the ruler of the roost. That's just how it
mhm.
was in our house. And so in our house or in my house, it's about collaboration.
Yes.
It's not a rush to judgment. When my son makes a mistake, which he has and he will, it's not a I'm the mother and I'm going to discipline you. It's let's hear all sides. Like
Mhm,
let's just relax. And, there's no reason to, again, put the pause, the hand on the chest and say, okay, how could we have handled that differently? Or, like your behavior is causing more stress to people around you. You may be having fun with your maturity level or immaturity level. It's not fun for the rest of us to be affected by it.
reminds me of one of the rules we had when we got married because I brought in kids to the relationship was if if one of the parents says, "No, don't ask the other one."
Hmm.
If we find out you did, that's what's gonna get you in trouble. And I
Right.
remember so many times that our son, I would say, "Are you sure you're asking the right parent? Because I'll answer you."
Right.
You know? And it's like, "Okay, never mind, mom."
Yeah. I didn't mean to come in here and bother you. Have a good night. Right. And I think we often, again, we use the term. It needs to change, in my opinion. It's not a blended family. We don't just put people and personalities in a blender and hope that it smooths over into something that's bright and tasteful and all of that. It's a refreshed family. That's my term with it. It's a
Oh, I love that.
refreshed family because you're adding in other people's experiences, right? You're adding in other people's patterns and their traditions and their lives. And you don't try to blend them and force them in the square peg into the round hole into your blender so that you hope that it comes out, smooth. It's not going to come out smooth. It's going to come out refreshed. They're adding different flavor. They're adding different color. They're adding different perspectives. So it's a refreshed, how I like to look at it is it's a refreshed family. We try to blend it. That sounds, it sounds, it sounds therapist. It sounds like what we would read in a book.
Well,
Tell
and
me.
it sounds like if you're gonna blend it, you're going to make everybody change a bit and absorb some of the others, when you can still look at each individual as a very solid person and not make them be like you. That
Yeah,
you can
right.
honor who they are. And so I do like the refreshed. It's new. It's just more opportunity. You get the opportunity of having 2 different male role models
Mhm.
in your life. You get the opportunity of learning from 2 people. You don't have to all of a sudden be like us or be like
Yeah, I trademark a lot of them. I have a lot of metaphors and a lot of zingers, and I like my zingers to zing. So that's a good
love
one.
it. Well,
Again, it's that analogy. It's that if you think about it as a blender, that's what you're trying to force a blended family to come out. Like,
yeah.
ugh. Everybody's the same. It tastes the same from the bottom to the top, right? You're
Yeah.
mixing it and you're not adding
And
any
how
diversity.
boring. It's like, I like my flavors to complement each other, not just one
Right.
blah thing. That's been beautiful, Kathleen. I really appreciate your insights, your passion. Can you share with our friend a little bit about what you do now, how you help people, and how did they get a hold of you?
So I'm a transformational coach. I mostly help women. I always say from 35 to any five, that type of stuff. And you don't have to land on the five for me to help you. And I do help men as well, but it's the women, and I'll focus on us because we're about us and we're empowering us. It's the women who haven't found their voice, that have gone through therapy. And I love therapy. I'm an advocate of it, and mental health and self-care, that's for sure. But it's that we don't wanna learn all the time. We wanna be curious all the time, and we wanna grow, and more importantly, we wanna glow, right? We wanna shine. We don't wanna just grow, we wanna shine. So, I help women on a one-on-one situation create a path and their roadmap to get them to be in the life that they want to. It doesn't mean dramatic or traumatic changes within the life that they have. It's just acknowledging the triggers. It's stopping the patterns. It's pausing. It's the being okay to learn a new skill. It's that type of environment that we identify the risk and where they're afraid. We're all afraid. Heck, I am afraid of lots of things. And it's okay to be afraid. That's what keeps us safe is that fear. But we have to just acknowledge it and say, okay, fear, I hear you. I hear that little girl and little boy because we have both sides of us inside of us. But I'm gonna take care of this. I understand you're afraid, but I can do this my way now. So I help people that way. They can find me on my website, which is chasingpurpose.com. They can schedule a discovery call for free where I'll talk to them for a half hour and see if there are synergies in our times that we can help each other, and I can help them create that path for them. And there's great tools out there. Podcasts, I have one as well, just like yourselves, and they can find me at Chasing Purpose Show on YouTube. It just started, so nothing's out there yet. But it will be soon. And I'm here to help. I'm of service and with service. And empowering all of us is what we need to do.
Ah, such wisdom. I'm so happy to have listen to your podcast and go look at your website. It's like, oh, I want to go do that.
Yeah, so it's fun. If you find something that you're passionate in, as you are, life can move forward a lot quicker. So we all have to find that passion. And again, not grow with it, but glow with it. That's the difference. It's the runway to the plank. It's that analogy of you can do life, you can move forward. Which way do you want it? How do you want to arrive? Well, I'd
Yep.
rather arrive every day as a runway, even if it's over my kitchen threshold, than I would as blank. That sounds horrible, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it doesn't. I mean, the plank does definitely, and especially if it's over water, because I am afraid of water. So
Right.
definitely a scary thought. But what is that one thing? If all I had energy for this week is just try one thing that we've talked about, what would be the one you would suggest we try?
One of the most life changing things that I did, and it was little and it was very cheap as far as money wise, was I buy myself a bouquet of flowers every Friday. I put them on my nightstand. And I wake up every morning and I see that bouquet of flowers and I start with look at that. I bought them for myself. I'm finding joy with them within myself. They're beautiful, but it's that little change of making a choice for myself. It's the sacred chair. It's the pause. It's the hand on the heart. It's recognizing and realizing that we can get triggered and we can start the cycle all over again. It's breaking the pattern, not only for us, but for our kids, for the next generation. So they don't live, our childhood and our lives haven't been bad. They've actually been great, but don't you want theirs to be better?
Yes.
Life is hard. We don't need to make it harder, So it's that choice of hand on the heart. That's one thing that's free that you can do every single day and every moment of your day is just to pause. Don't send that text. Don't regret it. Just pause and buy yourself a bouquet of flowers. Pick them from the garden. Put them by your bed.
I love it. I used to buy my own flowers for my office when I'd go into the office every day. It just gave me that adding beauty to a day that sometimes could get kind of crappy.
Yeah, well, someone brought me a little mason jar. A neighbor and a great friend of mine brought me a little mason jar. We do a women's group, and she brought it in, and she was like, "These are for you." And of course, I put them right on the kitchen island because that's what we were going to spend most of the time in the kitchen or in the dining room. And she was like, "No, no, no. Go put them up in your nightstand. These are for you to enjoy." Like you don't want them in while you're doing a duty, right? While you're cooking, they're only going to be in your way and you're going to get aggravated with them. Put them in a place that they're the first thing you look at when you wake up and the last thing you look at when
Yeah,
you go to bed. It
I
really was
love it.
empowering. And I still do it. It's been years, probably 6 years.
Okay, buy yourself some flowers. Ah, and enjoy them. So thank you so much, Kathleen. This has just been refreshing. I love getting out of the box. There's more air out there. It's
There
not so
is.
stuffy.
Not rigid at all.
Oh,
Slow and steady though. You get your out of the box slow and steady
yes.
with a plan.
With make a plan. You can write it on the inside of the box. This is how I'm getting out.
Yeah, you just map it, right? Head, heart, and stomach. Head, heart, and attention aligned. You create that alignment within yourself. So
Oh,
I
yes.
appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, friend. Kathleen and I are not medical or mental licensed professionals. We are just here to help you make it to your dreams and shine the light on your path. Thank you for joining and stay tuned for the next episode.
Are you tired of waking up exhausted? You are not alone. If you're looking to take your life back, let's start with the simple step of adjusting your self-talk. Stay tuned for the next episode with your host, Lara Jane. Remember to follow the show so you don't miss a next simple step that you can use to feel more confident. And please leave an honest review.